Fellas, we're taking the train from Highlander all the way back to Hyakyako as the Rowdy and Cheery event is rerunning this Tuesday in Blue Archive Global, and with it marks the debut of Guide Pina as a new permanent 3-star unit, while Guide Tsubaki's and Umika's banners will be returning too. I've already previously covered both Guide Tsubaki and Umika when they first released last year. I'll leave the link in the pinned comment. You can go check it out if you like. It should still hold up pretty well. Anyways, without further ado, here is a short review of Guide Pina. My 8 Pina bros, you guys are so back, cause your wife's beautiful alt is finally arriving to Global. It's the energetic festival operations department member who loves vigilante movies and is now working as Hyakyako's tour guide for all lovely Gehennas. It's Guide Pina. While I was admittedly hoping for Erika to be the new playable unit when this event reran in JP, I'm happy that we got a Pina alt, cause I think her guide version looks really good. For one, that suit is freaking hot. Her normal outfit is definitely much sexier, but her new outfit is sexy in its own way. Something about her calcium cannons doing their best not to pop out in that formal wear, combined with that short skirt flaunting those luscious legs in those goddamn fishnets. Good lord have mercy, I'm about to burst! Whoa! Pina, I need you! Please choke me with those long legs of yours! I'm going to tear open those buttons and asphyxiate myself within those mountains. Whoa! I'm going all night and I ain't stopping till I guide you to having my baby. Not only that, while I personally prefer her old ponytail, her new hairstyle is quite nice too. It low-key makes her look like a fancy rich foreign Gyaru princess. Though I'm not really a huge fan of her portrait's art style. Gee, I wonder why. I also really like her positive, energetic personality, cause I'm usually into Genki type characters. Plus, as a big fan of the Yakuza games, her love for Yakuza movies is a huge bonus too. And it's what really drew me to her. If she were real, I would love to introduce her to the games. Overall, while I've always liked Pina, her guide alt has allowed me to gain a newfound appreciation for her. And I'm happy for my Pina bros cause y'all deserve it. Oh, by the way, her L2D is fucking hot too. Those calcium cannons sticking out of that suit as she stretches, and that cute adorable Vivlos mouth expression. Oh my god, what I wouldn't do to lock tongues while rubbing my Bina between those mountains. So, what kind of student is she? Well, Guide Pina is a permanent special explosive DPS unit whose terrain modes are as follows: D combat power in urban terrains, S combat power in field, and B combat power indoors. She also uses the popular standard DPS equipment set consisting of hat, pin, and watch. Now let's take a look at her skills. Guide Pina is primarily a pretty powerful special explosive single target damage dealer, having a fairly simple but strong kit. Firstly, her 6-cost EX allows her to deal a ton of rate damage to one enemy with its whopping 2280% multiplier at max level skill, with its damage further increasing by a fixed 0.15 times if she has the finish leading status effect. Plus, this skill's damage can also be multiplied by up to 1.5 times based on the target's HP, dealing more damage the lower their health. This ability, which is her main damage outlet, is the reason why Pina is a strong rate single target DPS unit, cause with it, she can dish out a lot of rate damage onto an enemy, being able to shred through their health bar, especially if she has the finish leading stack from her basic, as his damage is increased by 0.15 times, boosting her already high 2280% multiplier to around a massive 2622%. Not only that, Guide Pina becomes even more effective against enemies with low HP, since her EX's damage is multiplied by 1 to 1.5 times the lower the enemy's health, meaning she's the opposite of Mika, and she mainly excels against a singular enemy with already fairly low health, being able to absolutely demolish them. And when combined with the damage multiplier buff, once she has the finish leading stack, her damage output further skyrockets. However, her EX's 6 cost is actually quite steep, and there isn't really any proper way to reduce it yet since Pina is a special unit, aside from I guess Swimsuit Shiriko's basic, which cuts it down to 5 costs at the start of battle. Moving on, with her basic, she gains the finish leading status effect for 40 seconds every 7 times an ally other than herself uses their EX skill, while also applying a 23.6% recovery boost buff to the ally with the lowest HP for the same duration at level 10 skill. Again, this finish leading stack she gains from the skill directly boosts her EX's damage output, and its 40-second duration is really welcome cause her EX basically has a longer window to dish out increased damage. While the 7 EX Q's prerequisite is quite high, you might be able to reactivate her basic during the 40 seconds depending on your team, rotations, and the content you're tackling, letting her refresh finish leading. For instance, in Final Restriction, this skill may be easier to proc since there are 10 students, meaning more EXs and faster cost recovery, but in normal battles, it will probably take a longer time. Aside from that, the 40-second recovery boost buff she provides can be useful too, giving your dying unit a bit more survivability as they recover more HP when healed. Next, her enhanced skill increases her attack, which is great for a damage dealer like her, while her enhanced skill plus grants her additional defense piercing, making her more viable against enemies with high defense, as she can basically ignore a portion of their exorbitant defense. Meanwhile, her sub-skill passively boosts your entire team's explosive effectiveness by 30.2%, making her a solid choice for your raid-focused teams as she improves your raid unit's damage output, including her own self. Plus, it can stack with other units' EE buffs too, except for those that have the exact same sub as her, though there currently aren't many students with this sub-skill, making this ability even more valuable. Finally, at UE 50, her field combat power is upgraded from S to SS, which can be a decent investment, especially for the harder raid field content, while her UE 60 increases her max cost by 0.5 and slightly improves her stats, though this level isn't really needed as it requires a lot of investment / it doesn't boost her damage that much, unless you're a whale, in which case go for it I suppose. Overall, G Pina is a strong raid single target damage dealer who becomes more powerful and effective the lower the enemy's HP and if she has the finish leading status effect, while being able to supply your team with EE and recovery boost buffs. So, is G Pina any good? Well, similar to other special damage dealers, she doesn't really see much use in most content due to striker DPS units being preferred as a result of their higher damage output and access to more buffs, allowing them to clear content much faster and more comfortably, whereas special students like Pina can only get buffs from students like Idol Sakurako, Uniform Asuna, Swimsuit Kana, and a few others. Hence, she generally hasn't really been used that much. Regardless, similar to a bunch of other raid special DPS units, Pina has found her niche in the Geburah raid, seeing quite a lot of use against this boss. I won't go into details about the raid's mechanics, but essentially, special units receive an 80% damage dealt increase buff, while striker units deal 75% less damage. So, raid special units like G Pina will greatly benefit from this mechanic. Due to her EX's nature of dealing more damage, the lower the enemy's HP, she was primarily brought into a lot of sensei's second to third teams, as she is able to either finish off Gabby or reduces HP as much as possible, making it easier for your next team to sweep him up. In fact, she has even been able to somewhat replace Uniform Karin, as not only is G Pina much stronger, but also her EX's HP conditions do not have any thresholds. It's just lower the enemy's health, while Uniform Karin's buffs only activate if you use her EX once Geburah's HP reaches 20%, though the latter has more damage outlets with her EX and basic. Nevertheless, you can still use both of them in separate formations. For example, if your G Pina doesn't have enough damage to take out Gabby, then Uniform Karin can be brought into the next team to finish him off, with some senseis using Satsuki for their first team, G Pina in second, and if needed, Karin in their third. Not only that, her 6 cost EX is usually not a problem in this raid, due to your cost meter restoring rapidly thanks to the heater's cost recovery buff once you fully heal it, in turn allowing you to activate more EX skills quicker, letting her proc her basic more frequently. Thus, all these have resulted in G Pina seeing quite a good amount of use in this raid, as she is able to deal a ton of raid single target hyper damage to him. And while she hasn't replaced Satsuki as the most important slash best hyper carry for this raid, her pick rate is still quite high and she is mainly used on the harder difficulties like Torment and Lunatic where multiple teams are highly required. Plus you can still use her on Insane and below if you need a good hyper carry for a second team so that you can finish him off easily. Outside of that, you could probably use G Pina in other raids with a single boss if you need an extra DPS unit for an additional team. For instance, Fuel Kaiten Phase 2, Raid Fuel Bina, perhaps Raid Fuel Cheese Phase 2 when the ball opens up, or Raid Armored Fuel Gauze. Though you might be better off relying on striker DPS options first before resorting to G Pina. So all in all, should you pull for G Pina? Well, in my opinion, if you want to do well in Gebura, perhaps you like to take on the higher difficulties like Torment or Lunatic where you probably need more than one team, definitely for Lunatic, then sure, you may pull for her as she will certainly help you clear this raid. Though you may need a highly invested G Pina like UE40 to UE50, especially for these tougher difficulties. However, if you don't care about Gebura at all, or you're content slash comfy with just doing Insane and below, or you prefer to just use your other special raid DPS units instead, then you may just skip her and borrow her from your club slash friends list if you need to, as she is more of a premium DPS unit for this raid and she is only really used if there is a need for multiple teams. Not to mention, she has only been used in this raid thus far, so if you don't give a shit about Gebura's harder difficulties, then I'd recommend skipping her and saving your Paroxenes for the 4.5 anniversary goals. But if Pina is your waifu and you want to relax with her while admiring that sexy figure in a suit, then go ahead and pull for her. And that's all for this week's review. Reminder that I've already reviewed Guide Tsubaki and Umika in a separate video, link in the pinned comment if you want to check it out. Anyways, thanks for watching, let me know who you're pulling for if you are, good luck with your pulls, and I'll see y'all in the next one.